Hey everyone! Tonight we are traveling into one of the quieter corners of history. Not battles, not legends, not vast migrations, but something far softer, tougher, and deeply human. Survival in its gentlest form. The warmth of a small fire fighting back a night colder than death. The comfort hidden in buffalo hides, stitched with patience and love. The hush of a tipi when winter winds howl like wounded spirits. Picture yourself on the open plains at the edge of winter, a horizon stretching wider than thought, a pale sun barely rising, every breath crystallizing the moment it leaves your lips. Temperatures soon fall to minus 30 degrees Celsius. And yet there's a strange reassurance, because generations before you endured this same cold, with nothing but wood, hide, fire, and the knowledge handed down from elder to child. Step inside a warm tipi after a day in the freezing wind. Feel the fur-lined floor under your feet. Hear the soft crackle of the central fire. Watch smoke drift upward through a perfectly cut opening. A design so precise even a winter storm can't steal the heat within. Inside, everything quiets. Slow breaths beneath shared robes. Stories whispered in low firelight. The steady pulse of community in a world carved from ice. This isn't textbook history. It's the story of families who slept beneath buffalo robes while snow pressed against their walls. Of fire keepers waking through the night to guard the embers. Of children soothed to sleep by the wind brushing hide walls. People who faced a cold that could kill within minutes, not with fear, but with ingenuity, skill, love, and deep respect for the land. Before we begin, if these quiet nighttime journeys bring you peace, feel free to like and subscribe, only if it's genuine. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is. It always amazes me how far this sleepy little community reaches. Now settle back. Slow your breath. Let the winter wind sweep across the plains. Let the firelight flicker against buffalo hide walls. And let the outside world fade away. Tonight, we enter a place where warmth was earned, where survival was an art, and where even the coldest nights held a quiet, unforgettable beauty. Part 1. The winter begins, the coming of the cold. A subtle shift in the crisp autumn air. A sharp, clean tang of imminent snow sent a shiver, ancient and primal, through the nomadic band. The vast, breathing expanse of the plains, once alive with the rustle of golden grass and the thunder of migrating herds, now lay hushed, awaiting winter's formidable embrace. Snow sweeps across the plains as families prepare their winter camp, transforming the vibrant landscape into a formidable frozen world, signaling the imperative to gather close, to draw inward, and to brace for the long, brutal trial of a winter that demanded unwavering resilience. Imagine the air, utterly frigid, sharp, and brutal, stealing your breath with every inhale, stinging any exposed skin with its icy bite. The sky above was often a vast, unbroken expanse of bruised gray, heavy with the promise of more snow, or, on rarer days, a startling crystalline blue that seemed to amplify the sheer scale of the cold. The sun, if it showed at all, was a weak, indifferent eye, offering little warmth, only a stark illumination of the frozen landscape. The ground beneath your fur-lined moccasins, usually a familiar canvas of earth and hardy grasses, now felt harder, colder, radiating a subtle chill that permeated through layers of hide. The first snows, often heavy and relentless, would soon descend, blanketing the plains in an immense, pristine white, silencing the rustle of tall grasses, and transforming the familiar world into a formidable frozen wasteland. Frozen rivers, their once flowing waters locked solid under immense sheets of ice, would lie like glassy scars across the land, treacherous to cross, yet sometimes the only passable routes for the migrating herds of bison and elk upon which your very life depended. Listen to the profound, almost oppressive silence of this frozen world. The thick blanket of snow, perpetually renewed, absorbed every sound, from the whisper of the wind to the distant creak of trees. No birds sang now, no insects buzzed. It was a dead silence, broken only by the muffled crunch of your own footsteps. A solitary declaration against the vast quiet, or the distant, mournful howl of a wolf, its hunger sharpened by the unforgiving season. Snow sweeps across the plains as families prepare their winter camp. The decision to establish a winter camp was crucial, often made after long consultations among elders and skilled hunters. It required meticulous planning, finding a sheltered location, ensuring access to water, even if frozen, and securing enough fuel. The vast migration of the buffalo, their primary resource, dictated much of their movement, and winter camps were established in areas where game could still be found or where a suitable river offered semi-permanent resources. Your small nomadic band, perhaps a few dozen souls, moved across this landscape with grim, purposeful determination. Every member, from the oldest elder to the youngest child, understood the profound significance of this transition. It was a time for heightened vigilance, for meticulous preparation, for the harnessing of every ounce of collective ingenuity against a relentless enemy. The nights, even now, were stretching longer, deeper, colder. Moonlight, a pale, indifferent glow, would cast long, stark shadows across the hardening earth, transforming familiar landmarks into eerie, alien forms. The cold, a relentless, insidious enemy, would begin its relentless seep, threatening to steal the very life from within, pushing you deeper into the protective embrace of your furs, your family, and your precious fire. Its story, sung in every quiet breath, whispered of profound resilience. The coming of the cold was a fundamental reality for Native Americans, a calm, immersive journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Choosing the winter ground, with the sweeping snow blanketing the plains and the cold, icy breath signaling the onset of a brutal season, the survival of the entire Native American band hinged on a single critical decision. Choosing the winter ground was a profound strategic imperative. The right spot meant shelter, safety, and survival in the deep freeze, transforming the vast, hostile wilderness into a meticulously selected haven, a testament to ancestral wisdom, profound ecological knowledge, and the unwavering will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius. Imagine the air, utterly frigid, sharp and brutal, stealing your breath, thick with the earthy scent of frozen ground, distant pines, and the subtle tang of human anticipation. The sounds were no longer the distant howl of a wolf. They included the muffled crunch of fur-lined moccasins on fresh snow, the hushed murmurs of elders, and the rhythmic creak of travois poles as the camp moved slowly. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, now shimmering on the vast white plains, illuminated a world utterly dependent on its chosen sanctuary. The plains, vast and seemingly uniform, were, for the experienced eye of a Native American elder or scout, a complex tapestry of subtle cues. A slight depression in the land, a specific formation of trees, a particular bend in a frozen river, each detail held vital information, informing the critical decision of where to establish their winter camp. This was not a casual choice, but a life-or-death selection, honed by generations of observation and hard-won experience. Listen to the muffled crunch of fur-lined moccasins on fresh snow, each step careful, deliberate, as the elders walked the potential sites, testing the ground, assessing the wind patterns. Hear the hushed murmurs of their discussions, their voices low and grave, weighing the advantages and disadvantages of each location. See the immense white expanse of the plains, its features subtly interpreted by the wisdom of memory, seeking a hidden promise of protection. The right spot meant shelter, safety, and survival in the deep freeze. Shelter was paramount. They sought locations protected from the ceaseless, biting winds that swept across the plains, a natural depression, a sheltered valley, the lee side of a low ridge, or a thick grove of trees, if available. These topographical features could dramatically reduce wind chill, creating a crucial microclimate of relative calm. Safety was equally vital. The winter landscape, stripped of its summer bounty, made predators bolder, more desperate. The chosen ground needed to offer natural defensive advantages, to be easily secured against wolves, bears, or, tragically, rival human bands. Access to a relatively safe water source, even a frozen one that required chopping, was also critical. Survival in the deep freeze hinged on these choices. A well-chosen location could reduce fuel consumption, minimize exposure, and maximize the chances of successfully weathering the brutal months. It was a profound act of foresight, a testament to their deep ecological knowledge and their respect for the power of nature. The psychological impact of finding the right spot was immense. It brought a surge of profound relief, a temporary respite from the constant anxiety of vulnerability. It fostered a sense of security, a belief in their own wisdom, and an unwavering commitment to the collective well-being of the band. Its story, carved in every chosen contour of the land, whispered of profound wisdom. Choosing the winter ground was a fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. The Circle of Poles, having meticulously chosen the winter ground, a sheltered haven against the relentless bite of the plains, the next monumental task for the Native American band was to construct their primary defense, the tipi itself. The Circle of Poles was the profound foundational act. Rising like ribs of a great beast, the foundation of warmth begins, transforming simple timber into the very skeleton of a protective sanctuary, a testament to ancient craftsmanship, communal cooperation, and the unwavering will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius with ingenious design. Imagine the air, utterly frigid, sharp and brutal, stealing your breath, thick with the earthy scent of frozen ground, distant pines, and the subtle tang of human effort. The sounds were no longer the muffled crunch of moccasins. They included the rhythmic thud of heavy lodgepoles, the low grunts of straining men, and the hushed murmurs of instruction. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, now shimmering on the vast white plains, illuminated the rising framework of their winter home. The tipi, in its various forms across different plains tribes, was a masterpiece of nomadic engineering, a conical dwelling perfectly adapted to the harsh environment. Its structure was designed for stability against fierce winds, for efficient internal heating, and for relatively quick assembly and disassembly, allowing for mobility even in winter. Listen to the rhythmic thud of heavy lodge poles, long, straight timbers, being carefully maneuvered and brought together. Hear the low grunts of straining men, their muscles tense, their breath pluming white, as they lifted the immense poles into position. See the geometric precision as the first 3 or 4 main poles were lashed together at the top, forming a sturdy tripod, the very backbone of the structure. Rising like ribs of a great beast, the foundation of warmth begins. The framework of lodge poles, typically between 12 and 20 or more, would then be carefully fanned out from this central tripod, their bases forming a wide, protective circle on the ground. When viewed from above, this arrangement resembled the ribs of a great beast, its skeleton rising from the earth, ready to be fleshed out with hides. This intricate, yet simple, system created a remarkably stable and resilient structure, capable of withstanding fierce blizzards and heavy snow loads. This circular foundation was more than just architectural. It was deeply symbolic. The circle represented the cosmos, the unending cycle of life, the unity of the family and tribe. The central fire, the heart of the home, would reside directly beneath the apex of these poles, its smoke rising towards the smoke hole, connecting the earthly dwelling to the eternal blue sky. The labor was immense. Long, straight lodge poles were carefully selected, cut, and transported, often requiring arduous journeys. Their precise arrangement demanded skill, teamwork, and an intimate understanding of the Tipis' design. Every pole was vital, contributing to the collective strength and integrity of the shelter. The psychological impact of seeing the Tipis' framework rise was immense. It brought a surge of profound relief, a visible promise of shelter, of warmth, of security against the lethal cold. It affirmed their ingenuity, their capacity to transform humble materials into a life-saving sanctuary. Its story, etched in every rising pole, whispered of enduring strength. The circle of poles was a fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. The circle of poles, having meticulously chosen the winter ground, a sheltered haven against the relentless bite of the plains. The next monumental task for the Native American band was to construct their primary defense, the tipi itself. The circle of poles was the profound foundational act. Rising like ribs of a great beast, the foundation of warmth begins, transforming simple timber into the very skeleton of a protective sanctuary, a testament to ancient craftsmanship, communal cooperation, and the unwavering will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius with ingenious design. Imagine the air, utterly frigid, sharp and brutal, stealing your breath, thick with the earthy scent of frozen ground, distant pines, and the subtle tang of human effort. The sounds were no longer the muffled crunch of moccasins. They included the rhythmic thud of heavy lodge poles, the low grunts of straining men, and the hushed murmurs of instruction. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, now shimmering on the vast, white plains, illuminated the rising framework of their winter home. The tipi, in its various forms across different plains tribes, was a masterpiece of nomadic engineering, a conical dwelling perfectly adapted to the harsh environment. Its structure was designed for stability against fierce winds, for efficient internal heating, and for relatively quick assembly and disassembly, allowing for mobility even in winter. Listen to the rhythmic thud of heavy lodge poles, long straight timbers, being carefully maneuvered and brought together. Hear the low grunts of straining men, their muscles tense, their breath pluming white, as they lifted the immense poles into position. See the geometric precision as the first 3 or 4 main poles were lashed together at the top, forming a sturdy tripod, the very backbone of the structure. Rising like ribs of a great beast, the foundation of warmth begins. The framework of lodge poles, typically between 12 and 20 or more, would then be carefully fanned out from this central tripod, their bases forming a wide, protective circle on the ground. When viewed from above, this arrangement resembled the ribs of a great beast, its skeleton rising from the earth, ready to be fleshed out with hides. This intricate, yet simple, system created a remarkably stable and resilient structure, capable of withstanding fierce blizzards and heavy snow loads. This circular foundation was more than just architectural. It was deeply symbolic. The circle represented the cosmos, the unending cycle of life, the unity of the family and tribe. The central fire, the heart of the home, would reside directly beneath the apex of these poles, its smoke rising towards the smoke hole, connecting the earthly dwelling to the eternal blue sky. The labor was immense. Long, straight lodge poles were carefully selected, cut, and transported, often requiring arduous journeys. Their precise arrangement demanded skill, teamwork, and an intimate understanding of the tipi's design. Every pole was vital, contributing to the collective strength and integrity of the shelter. The psychological impact of seeing the tipi's framework rise was immense. It brought a surge of profound relief, a visible promise of shelter, of warmth, of security against the lethal cold. It affirmed their ingenuity, their capacity to transform humble materials into a life-saving sanctuary. Its story, etched in every rising pole, whispered of enduring strength. The circle of poles was a fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Buffalo hides and winter walls, with the sturdy skeleton of the lodgepoles now rising defiantly against the frigid sky. The most critical phase of winter tipi construction began. Buffalo hides and winter walls were the ultimate defense. Thick, layered hides are stretched tight, nature's perfect insulation, transforming the raw bounty of the hunt into an indispensable, windproof, and remarkably warm sanctuary. A testament to ingenious craftsmanship, profound ecological knowledge, and the unwavering will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius. Imagine the air inside the newly framed tipi, thick with the earthy scent of raw hides, fresh wood, and the subtle tang of human presence, mingling with the biting cold. The sounds were no longer the rhythmic thud of poles. They included the low murmur of communal effort, the snap of sinew, and the rhythmic pull of hands stretching heavy materials. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, now shimmering on the vast white plains, illuminated the meticulous construction of their winter home. The primary covering for the tipi was the hide, typically buffalo bison, the largest and most abundant animal on the plains. After the arduous and dangerous hunt, and the painstaking process of scraping, tanning, and curing, these thick, insulating hides were transformed into massive, resilient covers. Each cover required multiple hides, meticulously sewn together with sinew thread and bone needles, creating a vast, seamless canvas. Listen to the low murmur of communal effort, the hushed instructions as men and women worked together, lifting the immense hide cover. Hear the subtle snap of sinew as it was pulled taut, binding the hides to the lodgepoles. See the thick, dark surface of the buffalo hides, their fur, dense and shaggy, stretched tight around the conical framework, their sheer mass and texture, a visible declaration of warmth. Thick, layered hides are stretched tight, nature's perfect insulation. The genius of the tipi's design lay in its multi-layered construction. The outer cover, made from numerous buffalo hides, was incredibly thick, windproof, and largely waterproof, especially when treated with fat. This provided the primary barrier against the elements. But crucial for winter warmth was an inner lining of hides, stretched inside the tipi, creating an essential air pocket between the inner and outer layers. This trapped air acted as a powerful insulator, preventing heat from escaping and cold from penetrating. The buffalo hides themselves were nature's perfect insulation. Their dense fur, their natural oils, their sheer thickness provided unparalleled thermal properties. When sewn and layered correctly, they created a remarkably effective barrier against temperatures plunging to minus 30 degrees Celsius or lower. The hides were not simply draped. They were stretched tight, ensuring minimal gaps for wind to penetrate. The bottom edge of the tipi cover would be carefully pinned to the ground with wooden pegs, or weighted down with stones to seal against ground drafts. The smoke flaps, meticulously designed, were adjusted to allow smoke to escape while minimizing heat loss. The psychological impact of seeing the tipi's walls rise, transforming the cold framework into a warm, enclosed space, was immense. It brought a surge of profound relief, a visible promise of sanctuary against the lethal cold. It affirmed their ingenuity, their capacity to transform the bounty of the hunt into a life-saving home. Its story, etched in every stretched hide, whispered of profound protection. Buffalo hides and winter walls were a fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains. charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. The hearth at the center, with the Tipis' sturdy hide walls now defying the biting winds, transforming raw materials into a formidable winter dwelling, the final, most crucial element for survival took its rightful place. The hearth at the center was more than a mere fire pit. A small fire becomes the heart of the world inside the tipi, transforming a dangerous element into the very pulse of life, warmth, and unshakable security, providing a constant guardian against the terrifying darkness and the relentless cold that threatened to engulf their fragile existence at minus 30 degrees Celsius. Imagine the air inside the tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, mingling with the earthy scent of buffalo hides, damp earth, and the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by the dry, sharp scent of burning fuel. The sounds were no longer the low murmur of communal construction. They included the rhythmic crackle and pop of burning wood, the contented hiss of melting snow near the flames, and the hushed murmurs of a family huddled close. The glow of embers under buffalo hides, casting dancing shadows, became the vibrant pulse of their nightly survival. The hearth, typically a shallow, circular pit dug into the packed earth floor in the precise center of the tipi, was a masterpiece of ancient engineering. Its central placement allowed heat to radiate outwards evenly throughout the conical dwelling. Its subtle design, often lined with stones, contained the precious flame, preventing it from spreading uncontrollably, a crucial safety measure in a shelter lined with dry hides and bedding. Listen to the rhythmic crackle and pop of the burning wood, a constant, comforting symphony against the profound silence of the frozen night. Hear the contented sizzle of thin soup, simmering in a heavy clay pot suspended over the flames, its rich, earthy aroma filling the tipi, promising strength and sustenance. See the dancing flames, their orange and red hues pushing back the encroaching darkness, illuminating the hide walls, transforming simple hides into a canvas of shifting shadows, a dynamic, living heart for the human cluster. A small fire becomes the heart of the world inside the tipi. Fuel, whether dry wood, carefully gathered buffalo dung, or dried grasses, was precious and constantly scarce in winter. The fire was meticulously managed, often kept to a low, smoldering glow throughout the night, its embers carefully banked with ash. It would smoke and sputter, its flames hesitant, but its persistent glow was a constant, visible anchor. It provided warmth, cooked food, offered light against the terrifying darkness, and crucially, deterred wild animals and unseen malevolent spirits. This enduring glow, however minimal, was a powerful psychological comfort. It was a tangible sign that the cold had not entirely won, that a precious spark of warmth and life persisted in the profound darkness. It defied the terrifying blizzards, the howling winds, and the crushing weight of snow that might envelop the tipi, providing a sense of security against forces they could not control. The warmth that emanated from the hearth, however struggling, was the central reason for its existence. It allowed bodies to thaw, to recover from the pervasive chill, to find moments of precious rest. It allowed families to gather, to share stories, to reinforce the bonds that held them together against overwhelming hardship. Its story, written in every dancing flame, whispered of unwavering protection. The hearth at the center was a fundamental reality for Native Americans. A soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its enduring glow the very essence of their survival. Warmth against the impossible cold. The inner liner trick, with the tipi hide walls defying the bitter winds and its central fire glowing with tenacious warmth. Native American ingenuity pushed further, refining their shelters to maximize heat retention against the impossible cold of minus 30 degrees Celsius. The inner liner trick was a profound, subtle innovation. Secret insulation, a hidden cloth wall that traps rising heat, transforming a simple hide dwelling into a remarkably efficient thermal chamber, a testament to deep ecological understanding and the unwavering will to outwit nature's lethal grip. Imagine the air inside the tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingling with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by a palpable, almost suffocating closeness. The sounds were no longer just the crackle of fire. They included the gentle rustle of a hidden cloth, the muffled breathing of a family huddled close, and the profound, comforting hum of collective life. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, now softened by an internal layer, illuminated a world utterly dependent on its ingenious, hidden warmth. The basic tipi structure, with its outer hide cover, provided excellent protection from wind and snow. But its conical shape meant that much of the precious heat generated by the central fire would rise directly upwards, escaping through the smoke hole, leading to a significant loss of warmth in the lower living areas. The inner liner was designed to combat precisely this problem. Listen to the soft rustle of a hidden cloth as it was meticulously stretched around the inside of the tipi poles, forming a second inner wall, separated by a crucial air gap from the outer hide cover. Hear the hushed murmurs of approval as the work was completed, the subtle shift in the tipi's internal acoustics. See the smooth surface of the inner liner, often made of lighter, softer hides or woven mats, its texture a contrast to the rougher outer cover. Secret insulation, a hidden cloth wall that traps rising heat. This inner liner, typically reaching from the ground to about halfway or two-thirds up the tipi poles, created an essential insulating air pocket between itself and the outer hide cover. Heat generated by the central fire, rising upwards, would be trapped in this space, effectively circulating downwards and throughout the tipi, rather than escaping directly through the outer wall. This dramatically improved the thermal efficiency of the dwelling. The trapped air in this space acted as a powerful insulator, slowing the transfer of heat away from the living area and preventing the lethal cold from penetrating. The inner liner effectively created a double-walled system, a sophisticated understanding of thermodynamics far in advance of its time. The smoke hole, meticulously designed and adjusted, allowed smoke from the central fire to escape above the inner liner, while the trapped heat circulated below, maximizing warmth within the habitable zone. This careful control of ventilation ensured a smoky, but significantly warmer interior. The psychological impact of this hidden warmth was immense. It provided a profound sense of security, a palpable comfort, knowing that an unseen layer of ingenuity was actively working to protect them from the lethal cold. It affirmed their deep ecological understanding and their capacity for profound adaptation. Its story, a secret whispered in every warm breath, spoke of ingenious design. The inner liner trick was a pervasive, fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its hidden wall, a profound secret of enduring warmth. Part 2. Warmth against the impossible cold. With the ingenious inner liner now trapping vital heat within the tipi, the next crucial layer of defense against the impossible cold of minus 30 degrees Celsius lay directly beneath the sleeping bodies. Bedding of fur and grass was a profound, meticulously crafted sanctuary. Soft piles of bison robes and dried grass keep sleepers lifted from frozen ground, transforming the harsh earth into a remarkably warm, insulating mattress, a testament to ancient resourcefulness, ecological knowledge, and the unwavering will to outwit nature's lethal grip. Imagine the air inside the tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingling with the dry, sweet scent of dried grasses. The sounds were no longer the gentle rustle of a hidden cloth. They included the soft rustle of carefully arranged plant matter, the gentle breathing of a family huddled close, and the profound, comforting hum of collective life. Thick firs layered against the cold, now resting on resilient grass, illuminated by the soft, crackling fire. The ground within the tipi, even with its insulating inner liner, could still radiate lethal cold upwards, particularly when the earth outside was frozen solid. To combat this, multiple layers of natural insulation were employed, meticulously arranged to create a warm, dry sleeping platform. Listen to the soft rustle of dried grasses as they were carefully spread on the packed earth floor. A painstaking process of gathering and arranging. Hear the muffled sounds of bodies shifting, settling into these layers, trying to find a position that maximized comfort and insulation. See the thick, resilient layers of plant matter, perhaps a foot or more deep, forming a crucial buffer between the human body and the lethal cold of the earth. Soft piles of bison robes and dried grass keep sleepers lifted from frozen ground. The base layer consisted of abundant, dry prairie grasses, reeds, or moss, meticulously collected during warmer months and stored. These fibrous plant materials, packed tightly, created countless tiny air pockets that acted as an excellent insulator, slowing the transfer of cold from the ground. They also provided a degree of cushioning, alleviating pressure on aching joints. Above these plant layers, more substantial insulation was added. Animal hides. Thick, cured bison robes, elk, or deer hides, meticulously prepared, would be laid out. These not only provided superior insulation, but also created a durable, windproof, and relatively smooth surface for sleeping. The combination of plant matter and hides created a remarkably effective, multi-layered mattress capable of defying temperatures plummeting to -30 degrees Celsius. The cold, however, was a persistent adversary. It found its way in through any gaps, but the meticulous preparation of the sleeping area was a powerful defense. This attention to detail, this understanding of natural insulation, was a profound testament to human ingenuity. It was a conscious effort to alleviate suffering, to seek a fragile measure of rest and peace in a world utterly defined by hardship. The children, nestled deepest in their furs and bedding, found this warmth a particular blessing, protecting their vulnerable bodies from the lethal chill. It allowed them to sleep more deeply, more securely. Their small forms relaxed against the pervasive cold. Its story, woven into every blade of grass, whispered of profound care. Bedding of fur and grass was a pervasive, fundamental reality for Native Americans. A soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce. Unyielding will to defy -30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth, a profound secret of enduring comfort. The smoke hole magic, with the Tipis hide walls and inner liner trapping vital heat, and insulated bedding defying the frozen ground. The flow of air within the dwelling became the next crucial element in the battle against -30 degrees Celsius. The smoke hole magic was a profound, subtle innovation, a precise opening that lets smoke escape but keeps warmth inside, transforming a simple vent into a sophisticated thermal regulator. A testament to deep ecological understanding, ingenious craftsmanship, and the unwavering will to create a breathable, yet life-sustaining interior atmosphere. Imagine the air inside the tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingling with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by a palpable, almost suffocating closeness. The sounds were no longer just the crackle of fire. They included the gentle rustle of hides, the muffled breathing of a family huddled close, and the profound, comforting hum of collective life. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, now softly illuminated by the glow of embers, revealed the intricate dance of smoke. The tipi, in its conical shape, was designed to draw smoke upwards from the central fire. But merely having an open hole at the top would lead to immense heat loss. The smoke hole magic lay in its sophisticated design and constant adjustment, ensuring a delicate balance between ventilation and heat retention. Listen to the low murmur of the fire tender, quietly adjusting the exterior smoke flaps with long poles, their movements precise, deliberate. Hear the subtle rush of air as the smoke escaped, its movement visible as a gray plume rising against the dark ceiling. See the smoke, thick and pervasive, slowly coiling upwards, drawn towards the apex of the tipi, its movement carefully managed by unseen forces. A precise opening that lets smoke escape, but keeps warmth inside. At the very top of the conical tipi, 2 adjustable smoke flaps were positioned. These flaps, attached to long poles, could be manipulated from inside or outside the tipi, allowing the occupants to control the size and direction of the smoke hole. They were adjusted meticulously, constantly, according to the wind direction and strength, creating a chimney effect that drew smoke out, while minimizing the escape of precious heat. The conical shape of the tipi, combined with the inner liner, which created an air pocket, facilitated this smoke hole magic. The rising heat from the central fire, trapped by the inner liner, would circulate within the lower, habitable portion of the tipi, while the smoke, less dense and drawn upwards, would be directed out through the carefully adjusted flaps, guided by the wind. This profound understanding of thermodynamics and airflow was a testament to ingenious craftsmanship. It transformed a simple vent into a sophisticated thermal regulator, allowing the interior to remain surprisingly warm and breathable, despite the presence of an open fire and sub-zero temperatures outside. The psychological impact of this control was immense. It provided a profound sense of security, a palpable comfort, knowing that they could actively manage the atmosphere of their home, ensuring both warmth and breathable air. It affirmed their deep ecological understanding and their capacity for profound adaptation. Its story, whispered in every curling plume of smoke, spoke of ingenious design. The smoke hole magic was a pervasive, fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy -30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it, its hidden wall a profound secret of enduring warmth. Fire keeping through the night, with the tipi's ingenious design maximizing warmth and insulation, and the smoke hole deftly managing ventilation, the constant battle against -30 degrees Celsius shifted to its most crucial, relentless front, the unwavering vigilance of its occupants. Fire keeping through the night was an essential, sacred duty. Someone always wakes to feed the embers, the guardians of warmth, transforming a solitary, arduous task into the critical shield that protected the fragile sleep of the family, a testament to unyielding vigilance and the profound courage required to defy the frozen frontier. Imagine the air inside the tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingling with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by a deepening chill. The sounds were no longer just the crackle of a thriving fire. They included the soft hiss of dwindling coals, the anxious whispers of the firekeeper, and the profound, almost eerie silence of a hearth fighting for life. The glow of embers under buffalo hides, casting dancing shadows, slowly faded to a deep, tenacious red, kept alive by the silent, watchful attention of its keeper. The central fire, carefully built within its stone pit and kept low to conserve precious fuel, was the heart of the tipi. But its fire, if left untended, would inevitably die, plunging the dwelling into lethal cold and absolute darkness. Fuel-dry wood, carefully gathered buffalo dung, a vital, long-burning fuel source on the treeless plains. Or dried grasses was precious, and constantly scarce in winter. Its meticulous management was a matter of life and death, an unending chore in a season built for death. Listen to the soft hiss of dwindling coals, a barely audible sound signaling the fire's precarious state. Hear the anxious whispers of the firekeeper, their voice low and strained with fatigue, muttering encouragement to the dying embers. See their figure hunched close to the hearth, wrapped in thick furs and worn coats, their eyes burning with fatigue, yet fixed on the precious, glowing heart within the pit. The red glow from the embers, pulsating gently, cast long dancing shadows on the hide walls. Someone always wakes to feed the embers, the guardians of warmth. The firekeeper, often an elder or a particularly vigilant adult, bore an immense, terrifying responsibility. Their duty was paramount, to carefully manage the dwindling fuel, to ensure that the precious coals did not die entirely, to nurture the fragile spark through the longest, coldest hours of the night. This was not a passive role, but an active, ceaseless vigil, the most crucial battle against the night's lethal embrace. The cold was insidious, an enemy that knew no surrender. It permeated the tipi, testing the keepers' endurance, tempting them with the seductive lure of sleep. They would shiver, huddle deeper into their furs, but their gaze remained fixed, unwavering. They understood the profound consequences of failure, the rapid onset of hypothermia for the sleeping family, the heightened danger from predators who feared no dark, the extinguishing of the tipi's very lifeline. The silence outside, broken only by the wind's low moan, pressed in, magnifying their solitude. This vigil was both physically demanding and psychologically taxing. Hours stretched into what felt like an eternity, the passage of time marked only by the slow diminution of the coals and the increasing intensity of the cold. The keeper fought against boredom, against the seductive pull of exhaustion, keeping their mind alert, constantly aware of the profound responsibility they bore. Its story, whispered in every quiet moment, spoke of resilience. Firekeeping through the night was a profound reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its silent vigil a profound secret of enduring warmth. The winter robe, with the tipi's ingenious design and the vigilant firekeeping battling the impossible cold of minus 30 degrees Celsius, the final, crucial layer of personal defense was the very clothing they wore. The winter robe was a profound testament to ingenious craftsmanship and ecological knowledge. Thick, decorated robes that double as blankets through deadly nights, transforming the raw bounty of the hunt into an indispensable, mobile fortress against the frost, defining the very essence of human warmth and endurance in a world utterly indifferent to exposed flesh. Imagine the air inside the tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingled with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by the rich, earthy smell of dense fur. The sounds were no longer the low murmur of firekeepers. They included the soft rustle of heavy buffalo robes, the gentle creak of hide bedding, and the muffled breathing of a family bundled tight. Thick furs layered against the cold, now worn as garments, illuminated by the soft, crackling fire. The primary materials for warmth were hard-won from the unforgiving plains. The thick, insulating hides of bison, elk, deer, and other large mammals. After the arduous and dangerous hunt and the painstaking process of scraping, tanning, and curing, these hides were transformed into specialized garments, meticulously crafted for maximum protection against extreme cold and wind. Listen to the soft rustle of heavy buffalo robes, their dense fur brushing against other hides, creating a symphony of friction and warmth. Hear the gentle creak of hide bedding as a body shifted, settling into its layers. See the richly decorated robes, often adorned with beads, quills, or painted symbols, their surfaces shimmering faintly in the firelight. Their aesthetic beauty, a counterpoint to their profound utility. Thick, decorated robes that double as blankets through deadly nights. These robes, often large and voluminous, were more than just clothing. They were designed to be worn continuously, layered over woolen tunics and leggings, creating multiple air pockets that trapped precious body heat. When settling down for sleep, these robes simply became the primary bedding, enveloping the wearer in a personal cocoon of heat, a mobile fortress against the lethal chill. The thickness and density of the buffalo fur, with its countless insulating air pockets, made it an exceptionally effective barrier against temperatures plummeting to -30 degrees Celsius or lower. The hides were meticulously sewn with bone needles and strong sinew thread, their seams reinforced and often sealed with natural fats or resins to make them windproof and water-resistant. This meticulous craftsmanship was essential for retaining body heat, transforming fragile human bodies into resilient, mobile fortresses. The decorations on the robes, beadwork, quillwork, painted designs were not mere adornment. They often carried symbolic meaning, representing tribal affiliation, individual achievements, or spiritual protections. They were a visual declaration of identity and connection in a harsh world. The psychological impact was immense. These robes provided a profound sense of security, a palpable comfort, knowing that they were enveloped in nature's perfect insulation, meticulously crafted by human hands. It affirmed their deep ecological understanding and their capacity for profound adaptation. Its story, etched in every stitch and painted symbol, whispered of profound resilience. The winter robe was a pervasive, fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy -30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth a profound secret of enduring comfort and strength. Part 3. Life inside the warm circle and cooking in the cold season. With the tipi's ingenious design, creating a warm, insulated haven and the winter robes providing a crucial layer of personal protection. The relentless struggle against -30 degrees Celsius shifted to the most fundamental need, sustenance. Cooking in the cold season was a profound daily ritual. Hot soups, melted fat, and boiling stones nourish body and spirit, transforming scarce provisions into life-giving fuel, and underscoring the relentless ingenuity and communal cooperation required to keep the tribe fed and warm in the heart of winter. Imagine the air inside the tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingling with the rich, savory scent of simmering meat and boiling liquids. The sounds were no longer the simple crackle of a lone fire. They included the contented sizzle of thin soup, the rhythmic plunk of heated stones, and the low murmur of hungry anticipation. The soft crackling of fire at the heart of the night, casting dancing shadows, illuminated a scene of vital communal preparation. Food was fuel, and in winter, fuel was scarce. The extreme cold meant the body burned immense amounts of calories simply to maintain core temperature. Every meal was critical, meticulously planned to maximize nutritional intake, providing essential protein and fat to combat hypothermia and sustain strength for the arduous tasks of survival. Listen to the contented sizzle of thin soup, simmering in a heavy clay pot suspended over the central fire, its rich, earthy aroma filling the tipi, making hungry bellies ache with anticipation. Hear the rhythmic plunk of heated stones, carefully transferred from the fire to a rawhide-lined pit, where they would be used to boil water or cook food. See the dark, steaming liquid, its surface shimmering faintly, being ladled into individual wooden bowls, its warmth radiating outwards. Hot soups, melted fat, and boiling stones nourish body and spirit. Hot soups made from dried meat, crushed bones, and whatever forage roots or berries could be preserved were a staple. Their warmth provided immediate internal comfort, battling the cold that permeated the body. Melted fat, particularly rich buffalo fat or bear grease, was a crucial source of high-calorie fuel, consumed directly or added to pemmican, a mixture of dried meat, fat, and sometimes berries, for sustained energy. Boiling stones were an ingenious cooking method. In the absence of durable metal pots or the ability to hang large cauldrons, stones heated intensely in the central fire would be transferred with tongs to a raw hide-lined pit or a wooden vessel filled with water. The radiant heat from the stones would quickly bring the water to a boil, cooking stews, brewing teas, or simply providing hot water for drinks, a testament to practical resourcefulness. This communal act of cooking was more than just physical nourishment. It was a ritual of profound connection. Families gathered around the fire, their faces grimly illuminated by the flickering flames. It was a moment to share the day's stories, to reinforce bonds, to acknowledge their collective reliance on each other and on the bounty, however scarce, of the land. Its story, sung in every simmering pot, whispered of profound sustenance. Cooking in the cold season was a fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth a profound secret of enduring comfort. The family's sleeping places, with the warmth from the central fire circulating within the insulated tipi, and hot soups nourishing weary bodies. The final arrangement for enduring the minus 30 degrees Celsius night was a meticulous act of communal design. The family's sleeping places were a profound ritual of interdependence. Everyone knows exactly where to sleep for maximum warmth, transforming the confined space into a sophisticated thermal map, and underscoring the deep understanding of heat dynamics, shared vulnerability, and unwavering collective strength within the warm circle of their winter home. Imagine the air inside the tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingling with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by a palpable, almost suffocating closeness. The sounds were no longer the gentle breathing of sleeping dogs. They included the soft, rhythmic breathing of many bodies, the occasional sigh, the gentle rustle of buffalo robes, and the low, comforting hum of collective life. The glowing embers, casting dancing shadows, illuminated faces softened by the shared heat. The tipi, in its conical shape, created a natural temperature gradient. The very center, directly around the fire pit, was the warmest. The edges, particularly near the ground and the entrance, were the coldest. The ingenious placement of sleeping spots was crucial for maximizing the warmth available to each family member, particularly the most vulnerable. Listen to the soft, rhythmic breathing of your family members, their soft snores, the quiet whimpers of an infant nestled deep in its furs. Hear the subtle movements of the buffalo robes, the rustle of hides as bodies instinctively sought a closer, warmer position. See the indistinct forms of the huddle in the dim light of the dying fire, a protective mound of human life, unified by necessity, against the immense, cold emptiness outside. Everyone knows exactly where to sleep for maximum warmth. Infants and very young children, being most vulnerable to hypothermia, were placed deepest within the human huddle, typically between their parents, close to the central fire. Their small bodies, wrapped in multiple layers of skins, absorbed maximum radiant heat. Elders, whose bodies struggled to generate and retain warmth, were also given prime spots, nestled close to the fire. Hunters and stronger adults, capable of withstanding more cold, might sleep further from the immediate hearth, often near the entrance, where they could also serve as a first line of defense against intruders or predators. Dogs, if part of the sleeping circle, would often be curled at the outer edges of the human huddle, their bodies lending warmth and their keen senses providing an early warning system. This meticulous arrangement transformed the confined space into a sophisticated thermal map. It acknowledged individual vulnerabilities, ensured optimal heat distribution, and reinforced the profound interdependence of the family. Each person contributed their body heat, and each person benefited from the collective furnace, making their huddle a living, breathing defense. The psychological impact was immense. This ritualized sleeping arrangement provided a profound sense of security, a palpable comfort, knowing that every effort was made to protect the most vulnerable. It affirmed their deep understanding of their environment and their capacity for profound adaptation. Its story, etched in every huddle, whispered of profound interdependence. The family's sleeping places were a profound reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy -30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth the profound secret of enduring comfort and strength. Winter stories and teachings. With the family securely huddled in their sleeping places, and the central fire glowing with its precious warmth, the long hours of the -30 degrees Celsius winter night transformed the tipi from a mere shelter into a profound classroom. Winter stories and teachings were a sacred, vital ritual. Elders speak as shadows dance across the hide walls, transforming the oppressive darkness into a canvas for the imagination, transmitting crucial knowledge, spiritual wisdom, and profound cultural memory, ensuring the continuity of the tribe against the relentless challenges of the frozen plains. Imagine the air inside the tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingling with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by a palpable stillness. The sounds were no longer the gentle breathing of sleeping families. They included the low, hypnotic voice of the storyteller, the soft gasps of children, and the rhythmic crackle of a dwindling fire. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, softly illuminated by the glow of embers, revealed ancient painted images, seemingly brought to life by the narrative. As the deepest cold of the night settled, when the fire had dwindled to a low glow, the family would gather closer to the hearth, their bodies pressed together. This was the moment for narrative, for the oral tradition that preserved their history, their beliefs, and their knowledge. The storyteller, often an elder or a respected member of the band, would begin, their voice a low rhythmic murmur that wove through the smoky air. Listen to the low, resonant voice of the storyteller, describing ancient myths, tales of powerful animal spirits, the buffalo, the bear, the wolf, of courageous hunters whose deeds secured their survival, of mischievous tricksters, or of the creation of their world itself. Hear the soft gasps of children, their eyes wide and fixed on the dancing shadows, their small imaginations populating the gloom with the creatures and heroes of the tales. See the elders, their faces etched with the hard-won wisdom of countless winters, listening intently, their own memories intertwining with the narrative. Elders speak as shadows dance across the hide walls. The unpredictable movements of the flickering firelight, casting dynamic shadows on the rough, uneven surfaces of the hide walls, became an integral part of the storytelling. Familiar objects, a hanging tool, a basket, a painted symbol would be transformed into monstrous shapes, into dancing figures, into spectral presences. These were the living shadows, their constant transformation amplifying the drama of the oral narratives, making the stories profoundly immersive and memorable. These winter stories and teachings served multiple vital functions. They were a powerful way to keep the mind from dwelling on the deadly cold, the gnawing hunger, and the pervasive fear in the night, offering a psychological escape. They taught the young about the history of their band, the customs of their ancestors, the moral lessons embedded in their beliefs, and the practical knowledge needed for survival. Tales of brave hunters provided lessons in strategy. Stories of encounters with malevolent spirits conveyed warnings about the dangers of the wilderness and the unseen world. The communal act of storytelling, performed in the intimate circle of firelight, was vital for social cohesion. It bound the family and the band together, reinforcing their shared identity, their collective memory, their understanding of their place in the vast, often terrifying world. Its story, written in every dancing shadow, whispered of profound wisdom. Winter stories and teachings were a fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy -30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth a profound secret of enduring wisdom and strength. Repairing the tipi in winter, with the merciless cold of -30 degrees Celsius pressing in from all sides, and the tipi serving as their fragile, yet vital, sanctuary, its integrity was paramount. But the constant assault of fierce winds, heavy snow, and extreme temperatures inevitably took its toll. Repairing the tipi in winter was a pervasive, urgent duty. Small tears can be deadly. Everything must be mended quickly. Transforming meticulous craftsmanship into a desperate battle against exposure, and underscoring the relentless vigilance required to maintain their precious warmth and ensure the survival of the entire band. Imagine the air inside the tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingled with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by a palpable chill from a newly formed draft. The sounds were no longer the low murmur of stories. They included the rhythmic scrape of bone needles, the soft snap of sinew, and the anxious whispers of those pointing to a new breach. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, softly illuminated by the glow of embers, revealed the delicate, yet crucial, act of repair. The tipi, a marvel of nomadic engineering, was designed for resilience, but it was not indestructible. Fierce blizzards, with their immense winds and driven snow, could tear at the hide cover, fray ropes, or even damage lodgepoles. A small tear, a loosened seam, or a gap in the inner liner could quickly become a lethal conduit for the bitter cold, compromising the entire structure's insulating power. Listen to the rhythmic scrape of a bone needle piercing thick hide, a constant, insistent sound that spoke of meticulous, urgent effort. Hear the soft snap of sinew as it was pulled taut, binding one piece of hide to another. See the hands, raw and chapped, yet moving with remarkable precision, patching a tear, reinforcing a weak seam, their movements illuminated by the flickering firelight. Small tears can be deadly. Everything must be mended quickly. In temperatures of -30 degrees Celsius, even a small breach in the tipi's hide wall or inner liner could allow enough cold air to penetrate to rapidly lower the interior temperature to dangerous levels. Such exposure could swiftly lead to frostbite or hypothermia for the vulnerable infants, elders, or the sick. Thus, any damage had to be identified and repaired immediately with unwavering urgency. The materials for repair were precious. Spare pieces of cured hide, strong sinew thread, bone needles. The work was often performed in the dim light of the tipi by the warmth of the fire, demanding immense patience and meticulous skill. Every stitch, every patch, was a profound act of defiance against the elements, a desperate effort to maintain their fragile sanctuary. The psychological impact was immense. The constant awareness of the tipi's vulnerability, the knowledge that any small flaw could lead to catastrophe, fueled a deep-seated anxiety. It bred a profound sense of vigilance, a constant scrutiny of their shelter, transforming routine maintenance into a life-or-death imperative. The children, nestled deep in their furs, would stir, sensing the unspoken urgency, understanding implicitly the importance of the repair. Their very lives depended on the integrity of their winter home. Its story, etched in every careful patch, whispered of constant vigilance. Repairing the tipi in winter was a profound reality for Native Americans. A soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth a profound secret of enduring strength. The night wind test, with the Tipi meticulously constructed, its inner liner in place, its bedding layered, and its fire glowing with tenacious warmth, the Native American band faced the relentless ultimate challenge of the plains winter. The night wind test was a profound daily reality. How the Tipi bends, flexes, and breathes through storms, transforming their ingenious dwelling into a living, resilient entity, and underscoring the deep understanding of its dynamic interaction with nature. A testament to unwavering adaptability against the howling chaos of minus 30 degrees Celsius blizzards. Imagine the air inside the Tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingling with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by the profound chill from the relentless outside. The sounds were no longer the soft rustle of hides. They included the relentless, violent roar of the wind, the rhythmic creak of straining lodgepoles, and the low murmur of a family huddled close, listening intently. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, now obscured by driven snow, revealed the intricate dance of the elements. The tipi, a conical structure of lodgepoles covered with hide, was not a rigid, unyielding fortress. Its genius lay in its dynamic flexibility, its ability to interact with the forces of the wind and snow, rather than simply resisting them. This made it incredibly resilient against the fierce blizzards that swept across the plains. Listen to the relentless, deafening roar of the wind, screaming through the gaps in the outer hides, a banshee's wail that seemed to encompass the entire world, pressing against the tipi walls. Hear the rhythmic creak of straining lodgepoles, protesting softly under the immense pressure, yet bending, flexing, absorbing the force, rather than breaking. See the hide walls, taut and vibrating, subtly swaying with the wind's immense power, their surfaces rippling like living skin. How the tipi bends, flexes, and breathes through storms. The conical shape of the tipi was inherently aerodynamic, allowing fierce winds to flow around it, rather than creating a flat surface for direct impact. The lodge poles, anchored securely at the base, but designed to flex, allowed the structure to bend and sway, absorbing the immense pressure of the wind without collapsing. The inner liner, creating an air pocket, also contributed to this dynamic resilience. The hide walls, though stretched tight, allowed a subtle breathing, a minute exchange of air that prevented the buildup of excessive moisture and regulated the interior atmosphere, even in a blizzard. The adjustable smoke flaps, meticulously managed, further controlled this interaction, minimizing heat loss while allowing smoke to escape. The psychological impact was immense. To be nestled within this dynamic living shelter, feeling it bend and flex with the storm's fury, offered a profound sense of security. It was a tangible testament to their ingenuity, their deep understanding of nature's power, and their capacity to adapt and endure. The tipi became a living entity, a partner in their survival, its resilience mirroring their own. The cold was insidious. It seeped through any weakness, but the tipi's dynamic integrity was its ultimate defense. The roaring storm, the relentless cold, these external threats were met by the internal strength and flexibility of their home, ensuring warmth and safety. Its story, sung in every creak and sway, whispered of enduring strength. The night wind test was a profound reality for Native Americans, a soft atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth a profound secret of enduring resilience, a testament to its living, breathing wisdom. Part 5. The deepest nights, sleeping through minus 30 degrees Celsius. As the relentless plains winter reached its absolute peak, plunging the world into a prolonged, profound darkness, the very act of existing became a triumph. Sleeping through minus 30 degrees Celsius was a profound daily miracle. Breath fogs the air. The fire glows low. The hides hold the heat, transforming a lethal environment into a fragile yet enduring sanctuary, a testament to ingenious design, unwavering discipline, and the quiet resilience of early humans who refused to freeze. Imagine the air inside the tipi, utterly frigid, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingled with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by a profound, almost suffocating closeness. The sounds were no longer the roaring of a blizzard. They included the soft hiss of dwindling embers, the gentle breathing of a family huddled close, and the profound, almost eerie silence that snow itself created. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, softly illuminated by the glow of embers, revealed a world utterly dependent on its fragile warmth. The tipi, in its ingenious multi-layered construction, sturdy poles, thick hide covers, and an insulating inner liner, was a masterpiece of nomadic engineering. It was meticulously designed to withstand extreme cold, to trap precious body heat, and to provide a secure sanctuary against temperatures plummeting to minus 30 degrees Celsius, minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit, or lower. Listen to the soft hiss of dwindling embers, a barely audible sound signaling the fire's precarious state. Hear the gentle, rhythmic breathing of your family members, their soft snores, the occasional cough that echoed in the small, enclosed space. See the indistinct forms of the huddle in the dim light of the dying fire, a protective mound of human and animal life against the immense, cold emptiness outside. Breath fogs the air. The fire glows low. The hides hold the heat. Your breath, when exhaled, would plume visibly in the frigid air, a dense, white cloud that lingered for a moment before dissolving into the pervasive chill, mingling with the last wisps of smoke from the carefully managed smoke hole. This visible exhalation was a constant, tangible affirmation of life, however cold, however fragile. The fire, meticulously tended by the firekeeper, would glow low, its embers carefully banked with ash to preserve their warmth through the long hours. Its radiant heat, however minimal, was absolutely essential, pushing back the cold, enabling the interior to remain at a survivable temperature. The hides layered thick buffalo robes, elk, deer skins were their primary insulators. They covered the tipi walls, lined the bedding, and wrapped the sleeping bodies. These hides, with their dense fur and natural oils, trapped precious body heat, creating a microclimate within the tipi, an effective barrier against the lethal cold that seeped from the frozen ground and permeated the lodge walls. The psychological impact was immense. To be able to find rest, even shallow rest, in such extreme conditions, was a testament to extraordinary resilience. It transformed a constant source of discomfort into a unique form of comfort, a hard-won victory over the relentless demands of the cold, allowing for precious, if restless, sleep. Its story, sung in every quiet breath, whispered of profound tenacity. Sleeping through minus 30 degrees Celsius was a fundamental reality for Native Americans. A soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth a profound secret of enduring strength. The midnight check. The midnight check was a profound, silent ritual. Someone steps into the cold for wood, a silent act of love, transforming a physically brutal chore into a profound declaration of care, underscoring the unwavering interdependence of the family and the constant sacrifice required to maintain the fragile spark of life against overwhelming odds. Imagine the air inside the tipi, utterly frigid, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingling with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by a profound chill that felt sharper than before. The sounds were no longer the soft breathing of sleeping families. They included the soft hiss of dwindling embers, the rhythmic creak of wooden poles, and the hushed movements of a lone figure. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, softly illuminated by the glow of embers, revealed a quiet act of devotion. The central fire, carefully tended and kept low to conserve precious fuel, was the heart of the tipi. But even with careful banking, its embers would slowly diminish over the long, coldest hours of the night. To allow it to die completely was to risk catastrophe. Lethal cold, no cooked food, and vulnerability to predators. So a crucial act was required. Listen to the soft hiss of dwindling embers, a barely audible sound signaling the fire's precarious state. Hear the gentle creak of wooden poles as an adult, often the father or a designated firekeeper, carefully rose from the sleeping huddle, moving with utmost stealth to avoid disturbing the others. See their figure, a dark silhouette against the faint glow, quietly gathering a piece of precious firewood. Someone steps into the cold for wood, a silent act of love. The cold outside was lethal, perhaps minus 30 degrees Celsius or colder. To step from the relative warmth of the tipi into that biting frigidity, even for a few moments, was a profound physical shock, a deliberate act of self-sacrifice. The wooden poles that secured the smoke flaps, or the small cache of firewood near the entrance, would be reached for with numb fingers. Each piece of wood, each dry branch, was precious, a tangible piece of warmth. This was a silent act of love, performed without fanfare, without drawing attention. It was a profound declaration of care for the family, for the tribe. The father or mother undertook this painful chore out of unwavering devotion, ensuring that the critical spark of warmth would endure for their children, their elders, their sleeping companions. The psychological impact was immense. The constant awareness of this need, the silent execution of this duty, reinforced the profound interdependence of the family. It underscored the fact that their survival was a collective effort, demanding continuous vigilance and sacrifice. The cold, sharp air would rush in briefly as the tipi flap was opened and closed, a chilling reminder of the world outside. But the act of bringing in new fuel, of rekindling the embers, was a profound reassurance, a quiet promise of warmth for the remaining hours of the night. Its story, told in every careful step, whispered of profound care. The midnight check was a fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth the profound secret of enduring love and self-sacrifice. Dreams beneath the robes. Dreams beneath the robes were a profound spiritual reality. Warmth, ancestors, and the rhythm of the crackling fire, transforming restless sleep into a vivid landscape of comfort and profound connection, reflecting their deepest longings, fears, and the enduring spiritual ties that bound them to their past and their future. Imagine the air inside the tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides, and damp earth, mingling with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by the profound stillness of sleep. The sounds were no longer the subtle creak of poles or the anxious whispers of the firekeeper. They included the soft, rhythmic breathing of many bodies, the occasional whimper of a dreaming infant, and the muted crackle of a dwindling fire. The glow of embers under buffalo hides, casting dancing shadows, illuminated faces softly, as if touched by a hidden light. For Native Americans, dreams were not dismissed as mere subconscious wanderings. They were taken as potent messages from the spirit world, premonitions, warnings, or communications from ancestors or animal spirits. In the profound darkness and cold of winter, when the physical world offered little comfort, the spiritual world of dreams became a vital source of guidance and solace. Listen to the soft, rhythmic breathing of your family, their snores, their restless shifts. Hear the occasional whimper of a child, stirring in a dream, their small body reacting to unseen visions. See the indistinct forms of the huddle, their faces softened by sleep, illuminated by the faint glow of the embers, their minds engaged in a different reality. Warmth, ancestors, and the rhythm of the crackling fire defined their dreamscapes. Dreams of warmth were particularly poignant, vivid sensations of a summer sun, a roaring fire, the comforting heat of many bodies. These offered a profound psychological escape from the relentless cold, a temporary reprieve from physical suffering. Ancestors, wise and powerful, often appeared in dreams, offering guidance for the hunt, warnings of danger, or solace in times of grief. Their presence reaffirmed the unbreakable chain of lineage, the spiritual continuity that transcended death. Animal spirits, particularly the sacred buffalo, might appear, offering blessings for future hunts or guidance on where to find game. And the rhythm of the crackling fire, a constant comforting sound in their waking lives, often permeated their dreams. It was the heartbeat of their home, a soothing pulse that accompanied their subconscious journeys, a profound anchor to the life-giving warmth that defined their existence. The psychological impact was immense. These dreams provided crucial emotional and spiritual sustenance. They bolstered morale, offered a tangible sense of hope for the future, and reaffirmed their deep connection to their spiritual world, allowing them to process the immense pressures of survival and to find meaning in their suffering. The cold, the hunger, the pervasive danger of these hardships were amplified by the dreams. Yet paradoxically, the dreams also offered a profound antidote to despair, transforming suffering into a source of inner strength. Its story, woven into every nocturnal vision, whispered of profound connection. Dreams beneath the robes were a fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold. Forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy -30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth a profound secret of enduring comfort and spiritual solace, found in the sacred landscape of sleep. Wolves beyond the camp. Wolves beyond the camp were a constant chilling reality. Their distant howls echo through frozen plains, transforming the untamed wilderness into a realm of active menace, sharpening every fear and making the fragile sanctuary of the Tipi feel profoundly vulnerable to the unseen, relentless forces of nature. Imagine the air inside the Tipi, thick with the pungent aroma of wood smoke, tanned hides and damp earth, mingling with the subtle tang of human presence, now permeated by a profound chill. The sounds were no longer the soft breathing of sleeping families. They included the low murmur of cautious sleepers, the rhythmic creak of wooden poles, and then, piercing all, the distant, eerie lament of wolves. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, softly illuminated by the glow of embers, revealed faces etched with weary vigilance. The vast open plains, stripped bare by winter, were teeming with powerful predators. Wolves, their hunger sharpened by the brutal cold and the scarcity of prey, grew bolder with the darkness. They were cunning, patient, and relentless, constantly probing the edges of human settlements, drawn by the scent of human presence or the tantalizing possibility of unguarded livestock. The tipi, however stout, was merely a temporary barrier against such ancient, untamed forces. Listen to the low moan of the wind, a ceaseless, mournful presence sweeping across the snow-dusted plains. Hear the distant, eerie lament of wolves, a chorus of yips and howls rising and falling, a chilling symphony that seemed to come from all directions, weaving through the thin hides of the tipi, penetrating the deep quiet of the night. See the vast, dark expanse of the plains outside, its features hidden by the snow and darkness, but its unseen dangers powerfully present, their presence marked by sound. Their distant howls echo through frozen plains. The howls, though distant, were often close enough to send a shiver down your spine, instantly seizing your heart with a cold dread. For the sleeping occupants of the tipi, these cries could penetrate their shallow slumber, twisting their dreams into vivid, terrifying encounters with the wild. The sounds became premonitions, warnings of unseen threats lurking just beyond the fragile hide door, amplifying the fear of personal violation. The fear was primal, profound. It was the fear of the wolf pack, of the silent hunter, of the cunning beast that sought to breach their defenses, to claim their meager livestock, or, most terrifyingly, to snatch a vulnerable child. The tipi, however ingenious, felt fragile against such ancient untamed forces, its security constantly under threat. The firekeeper, or the designated watchman, roused by the howls, would stir, his hand instinctively reaching for his spear or bow. His face, grimly illuminated by the faint glow of the embers, would be a mask of weary vigilance. The shared apprehension, the unspoken understanding of the dangers outside, hung heavy in the air, binding the family in collective fear. The psychological impact was immense. The wind's ceaseless cry amplified every fear, of unseen dangers lurking in the snowdrifts, of being cut off from help, of the tipi's fragile structure eventually succumbing to the storm. But the internal hum of hope, nurtured by stories, prayers, and communal warmth, provided a crucial antidote to despair. Its story, sung in every haunting cry, whispered of profound menace. Wolves beyond the camp were a fundamental reality for Native Americans. A soft, atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy -30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth a profound secret of enduring strength. Dawn through the smoke hole. Dawn through the smoke hole was a moment of exquisite, fragile beauty, a herald of enduring hope. Sunlight spills in, a reminder that another night has been conquered, transforming the vast, frozen landscape into a canvas of renewed promise, a testament to unwavering human resilience and the quiet triumph of survival against overwhelming odds. Imagine the air inside the tipi, crisp and invigorating, thick with the subtle scent of thawing earth, new growth, and the pervasive aroma of wood smoke, mingled with the fresh, clean tang of a new day. The sounds are no longer the distant howl of wolves. They include the tentative chirping of birds, the soft rustle of awakening animals, and the low murmur of sleepy voices. Moonlight on buffalo hide walls, now softened by the gentle light from above, carries the subtle weight of memory and the promise of continuity. You would be roused from a shallow, fitful sleep, perhaps by the cold itself, or by an internal clock, a primal awareness that the turning of the night was at hand. The tipi would still be in near absolute darkness, the embers of the central fire having dwindled to their lowest, most precarious point. Your breath, when exhaled, would plume in dense, white clouds, a stark, visible affirmation of the cold, but now tinged with the promise of light. Listen to the soft crackle of a rekindled fire, its warmth slowly spreading, pushing back the pervasive chill. Hear the low murmur of sleepy voices, your family beginning to stir, their bodies stiff, but their spirits lifting with the promise of light. See the faint, bruised gray begin to paint the eastern sky, a subtle, ethereal blush that slowly, inexorably pushed back the oppressive darkness, a silent, breathtaking spectacle. Sunlight spills in, a reminder that another night has been conquered. Then, a thin, bright shaft of light would pierce the smoke hole at the top of the tipi, a direct, undeniable ray of the rising sun. It would spill inwards, a golden beacon cutting through the smoky air, illuminating the interior, painting a shimmering circle on the hide walls. This was the moment of profound relief, a powerful affirmation that the cold, the darkness, the endless struggle had been endured. Another night, another relentless assault from winter, had been conquered. The psychological impact was immense. This first light, this golden shaft illuminating their shelter, was a profound antidote to the despair of the long night. It was a powerful affirmation that life, tenacious and resilient, continued. It instilled a renewed sense of hope, a tangible connection to the cyclical rhythms of nature, a belief in the promise of renewal, a silent triumph over the elements. The cold, though still present, felt less lethal, less absolute. The dangers of predators, of unseen spirits, which thrived in the darkness, were beginning to recede. The world outside, though still frozen, was now visible, navigable, ready for the day's arduous demands. Its story, painted in every golden ray, whispered of enduring strength. Dawn through the smoke hole was a fundamental reality for Native Americans, a soft atmospheric journey through snow-covered plains, charting the ingenuity of traditions that carried whole communities through the cold, forever tethered to the fierce, unyielding will to defy minus 30 degrees Celsius and build life in a world that sought to freeze it. Its warmth a profound secret of enduring strength, found in the sacred light of a new dawn. When the final ember sinks into its soft orange glow, and the cold night settles across the plains like a vast, silent blanket, you begin to understand something the winter camps of the plains peoples knew with every breath of their lives. That warmth was not a luxury, but a promise kept by hands, by memory, by hide, fire, wind, and wisdom, passed down through 1,000 winters before, long before modern walls, before furnaces hummed through the night, before insulation came wrapped in plastic and glass. There were people who faced the deep cold, with nothing but the world around them, and a knowledge of that world so deep, it became a kind of quiet armor. They gathered the tall poles, lashed them into a rising circle, and stretched buffalo hides thick as winter itself around the frame. Inside those walls, a small fire breathed and pulsed like a living heart. The wind howled. The snow buried the plains. The temperature dropped to minus 30 degrees Celsius. Yet inside the tipi, the air held a soft, steady warmth. The warmth of community, of practiced survival, of people who knew exactly how to outwit the cold. They slept on furs lifted from the frozen ground. They added grass beneath for insulation. They layered robes, shared heat, and trusted the hides to hold back the night. And when the fire dimmed, someone would rise, quietly, without complaint, and feed the embers. A small act, but one that meant life. Family rested. Children dreamed. Elders whispered stories that drifted up into the dark smoke hole, like offerings. Outside, wolves called to the moon. Snow scoured the land. The world was white, endless, silent. But within the tipi, the light glowed warm against the hide walls, shadows dancing gently like spirits at ease. Maybe that is the soft truth these winter camps leave behind. That surviving the cold is not only about fire and hides, but about care, about waking for someone else, about building warmth together when the night grows cruel. So rest now. Let the plains grow quiet. Let the wind roam far from your door. Let the last spark of the hearth linger in your mind like a gentle promise of safety. You have walked softly in imagination into a world shaped by wisdom, resilience, and the art of living with the land. Sleep well tonight, and may the warmth of those winter fires keep watch over your dreams.